Hello again, Ian Stick with Mastermind Games, back with Warhammer 40,000 and the Black Legion character Haarken Worldclaimer. Matte Black. So, a member of the Raptors, the Chaos equivalent to Assault Marines. Haarken Worldclaimer acts as Abaddon the Despoiler's Herald, thrusting his Hell Spear into the planet, into the ground of planets Abaddon intends to seize. Trying to find the right brush here as a symbolic gesture. I have no idea what that screeching sound was, but there is some construction in the area. It's using a bigger brush than I normally would to... I think that's the sound of a saw going through a nail. If I hear it again, I'm going to see if there's somebody screaming. The most unusual things seem to happen right when I start filming here. And those trophy racks can be picked out a different color. Actually, there's a lot of things to be picked out, but I want to get a rich black base on Haarken Worldclaimer's armor first. And as he first appeared in the campaign book Vigilus Defiant, Vigilus Ablaze being the second part, I went through that to figure out how exactly I wanted to paint the hapless victim on the base. Officially, or at least in the most common color schemes I see, it's an ultramarine, but another chapter present during the Siege of Vigilus were the Castellans of the Rift, so olive green 09035, I think I'm going to go with that. I can't remember if they're mentioned in the new Space Marines Codex or in the Ultramarine supplement. They are Ultramarine successors. If I remember right, their mandate is to guard the Nakman Gauntlet, of which Vigilus is a critical piece of. And getting impaled through the chest by a rusty pipe. Pretty inglorious death for a Space Marine, but... Now it's unknown if what happened to Worldclaimer after the Siege of Vigilus, but likely he fell back when Abaddon did. Which Abaddon fell back in order to make sure one of his lieutenants didn't run away with his ship. Blanking on the name of it right now, and that's really bad. There's a start. Once that dries, I can move on and start picking out details. Oh boy, and my camera's throwing a temper tantrum. Oh, good gravy. Okay. Next. Leaf green 09011. this is just going on the trim. Oh, well, this brush is about shot for this, so this is just going on the trim, the victim's shoulder. And then Rosy's skin, 09068. And like I did with Obsidious Malix, seemingly forever ago. Alright, let's see here. So this is going to go on the head, top of the head, because Haarken has a little bit of skin showing. But all these tubes here are also going to be this fleshy color, which is something I did with Obsidious Malix to show the corruption of chaos, fusing them with their armor. So, something like this, I think. I'll give the impression that what once was, what's what I'm looking for? Pure machinery is now slowly becoming flesh. I might redo part of this midsection, but I do want part of it in this flesh tone. And definitely the tubes leading up to the mask. Because over time, Chaos Space Marines fuse with their equipment in an unholy manner, and this is one of the more effective ways I feel to show it. Now, Yellowed Bone 09143. Get some skulls here. Worldclaimer actually has an ability, I think it's called Head Taker, but every time he kills a character, his attacks characteristic goes up by 1. So he's not just killing, he's making the trophy kills. It's a little delicate right here. Just that one connection point to the belt. And I imagine, since there seem to be so few skulls on him, or someone of his reputation, at least a reputation that's implied as dread and dire based on his brief mention in the fiction of Vigilus, that he either has a huge pile of skulls somewhere back on Abaddon's flagship. If I could just remember the name of the dang thing, you would think. The Vengeful Spirit, that's it. Or, as this mostly shattered skull seems to imply, perhaps as older trophies of his get damaged or shot off in combat, he simply replaces them with new ones. Both theories have their merits. There's clearly a Xeno skull right here. Much more obvious from the front, though. And possibly demon, but demons don't always leave a corpse. So something alien is more likely in this case. And there's one huddled up in the armpit of this fallen Marine. And chaotic red. I see a bit of the elbow interior I want to get in the, and probably on the palm of the hand, I want to get in this flesh color. Let's see, I think I got a little sloppy here. Again, going for a look that, okay, now the chaotic red. Again, going for a look where the armor is turning into flesh, or at least pieces of it, as the character in question slowly becomes consumed and corrupted further and further and further. I'm going to call this good for now. Come back later. That's a decent. Oh boy, my computer's acting up again. Okay. I've changed my mind about some of this, so Stormy Gray 09088. So on the armor, the body glove portion, I'm just going to redo in this gray. Which won't take long. And again, sometimes when you're working on these models, you're going to end up changing your mind about how you want to do something. It happens. It's not something to be feared or something to worry about. It just happens. I still want these hoses and pipes fleshy though, including the bit right there. But how'd I do it? Ancient Bronze 09049. And for the most part, following what I did with the Obsidious Malix and the Chaos Space Marines from Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress, and those were actually the first Chaos Space Marine models I ever did. So on the Hell's Spear, I am taking a little caution not to hit the blade, at least not at this point. Thinking of details I want to pick out. Because Haarken Worldclaimer here definitely has more detail than your typical model, as befits a named character. Part of this one is largely hidden by the jetpack or jump pack. Now my thumb is really hurting. I think I jammed it last week, and while it's getting better, it's still in bad shape. I'm debating if I need to see a doctor or not, but don't think I need to yet. But I also think I made it worse at work yesterday, so if I don't see an improvement by a major one by my next day off, as in it needs to be back to where it was before, then I'm probably going to have to go and see a doctor about it. This sort of knuckle on the lightning claw, and on the back of the other hand. I might go back into a two-tone on some of these knees, because this almost looks like the kind of thing that would spontaneously pop out of a Chaos Worshipper's body and start talking to him. While details like this are definitely more pronounced on Death Guard models, all Chaos Space Marines will eventually have demonic faces and other accoutrements popping out of their armor, moving with their own volition and talking to them. I'm hearing the noises my computer usually makes when it starts dropping frames hundreds at a time, but right now I just really need to focus so I can do this. If it's dropping hundreds of frames a second, there's not a whole lot I can do about it because I have no idea what exactly causes it or how to fix it. I will figure that out eventually, but that's not going to happen today. Okay. You know what, that's, I think, well, a little bit of gold right here, I think. And then I'm going to take that Stormy Gray again and make sure I don't have too much water in it and just hit the fans and thrusters here. I might end up doing this as a lighting effect, at least some of this at the end. And I think that's enough for now, so back in later. Okay, let's see if I can get through a clip without any major disasters happening. Plate mail metal. So I did add a little more golden off camera. Looked at the painted model in Vigilance Defiant and decided to tweak a few things. I'm not doing it exactly like in the book, but I am using it as a guideline. Okay, so carefully picking out the trophy racks and spikes. I'll have to pick up that scrap of cloth in some color. Didn't even really notice it till just now, and again, that happens sometimes when you got months between the time you buy the model and the time you actually start painting, which I know I'm not the only hobby gamer that does that. Some details you can just completely not notice until you actually put brush to plastic or metal or whatever the model happens to be made out of. I'm trying to just do one section at a time. Chains, and then it's a little bit showing there, and then coming through the end of that skull there. The frame rate's reasonable so far, but and I think I see some more things I want to pick out in the gold, so I'll go to that again off camera. I'll start on the rusty pipe through the victim Space Marine. You know, I'm looking at the lightning claw as a weapon. A single lightning claw really isn't that bad at all. I mean, getting a reroll on a wound. The temptation to have a guy with nothing but lightning claws, well, that's also a great one just because of the extra attack. I almost thought a little weird first that Haarken Worldclaimer only has one, but a single isn't a bad weapon. Not at all. Okay, now let's see, is there anything else? No, there's nothing else on Worldclaimer that I want to do in steel outside of the blade on Hellspear, or I should say blades because there is one in the back as well. And my computer's dropping frames like madness again, so I'm just going to knock out these blades real quick and then just go switch off the camera, do the touch-ups on the gold. Good grief. The joys of technical difficulties strike again. Alright, fine. Okay, there's the steel. I'll do some touch-ups, and hopefully when I'm back, my camera will play nice with me. Alright, things have gotten kind of off spec the last couple of days, but 09050 antique gold. So I took some Stormy gray and did the mouthpiece and the body glove on the fallen Space Marine here, and some other touch-ups. I'm just about finished with the whole thing on base coats at least. Just been worn out lately from pushing myself way too hard in all the wrong ways, so trying to get back to where I want to be. Now, I'm going to take a little more chaotic red. I got a few more details. Probably touch up the mask. Now the official artwork has Haarken Worldclaimer with a, I don't know whether to call him Haarken or Worldclaimer for short, but oh well. But anyway, he's got a gold mask in the official artwork, but I think I'm going to leave mine black. So I'm going to fill in, this is sort of a skull detail on the back of his lightning claw. I might have to redo part of this pauldron off camera, but there's also another skull detail here beneath the 8-pointed star of chaos. I'm kind of fighting my own lighting here. Do this. Right. If I do touch-ups on that, I'll do it off camera. I'll do some off-camera touch-ups on the mask as well. Now, uniform gray. Getting the rubble. A little bit around the back. Okay, and outside of touching up the mask, that's base coat, so once this dries I can move on to shading and go from there. Alright, next, shading, stained ivory 09142. That soft ticking I'm hearing is just a timer I have going. Got one going for my laundry and another going for some casting resin that's hardening. I'm in the process of casting my new product for my home business at Mastermind Games, which I'm hoping to get out by Thanksgiving. We'll just see. We'll just see. I'm really bad about estimating things, so fitting it into a wash with 1 part water, 1 part paint, and just brushing it over the base coat. And I nicked the steel there, but that'll be alright. I'll make it look right in the end. I just realized I forgot that strip of cloth there. Alright, I'll just pick that out in the chaotic red after I get this. It frustrates me to no end when I miss things while I'm working, but it does happen from time to time. In the end, don't worry about it too much, because it's easy to go back and touch things up. Ancient Bronze 09049. Getting this before I forget to. The Aquila on the Castellan of the Rift member's chest. And Scorched Metal 09125. This is going on Worldclaimer's Gold. It's a bit darker. This is kind of metallic brown. And I feel it gives a nice corrupt look to what once was shiny bright gold. Although, when you think about it, Black Legion are basically just Chaos Ultramarines, so straight gold would also have been appropriate, which is actually the official for them. Again, going for a little darker, for a more corrupt look. Just starting on one area at a time. And the shading generally goes faster for painting, but takes longer for drying. Okay, interesting side note about Abaddon the Despoiler, Worldclaimer's boss, and Horus, the Primarch they're all based off of. Or at least, well, to be fair, Chaos Space Marines don't care about genetic lineage as much, and a single corrupted Marine could end up serving in many different legions over the course of their long lives. But in one of the books in the Black Legion series, one of Abaddon's minions asks if he's really Horus. At another point he responds that, or no, it's not a response, but he's musing about the differences between him and Horus. And that's a scam call on my phone I'm just going to ignore. So I'm just going to let it ring. But Abaddon, hearing the voices of the Chaos Gods, decides that Horus was weak for listening to them, and Abaddon will not obey their commands. Yeah, the frequency of scam calls is just frustrating. Just beyond belief. I'm sure you out there have all had your own headaches with the phenomenon, which has only gotten worse. pieces of advice on dealing with scam calls. 1. Screen your calls. Just put your friends and family in your phone with an ID so you know it's them, and then just don't bother picking up for anybody else. They can leave a message. And 2, when you get scam calls, report them to the Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov, in the US. They got a quick, easy form to fill out, and eventually they will use this to shut down these groups if they can, assuming they can find them. Alright, starting to ramble a bit, so there we go. That's going to have to dry before I move on, so I'm going to let that happen and come back in a bit. Okay. Red brick 09001. Oh, that went a little wild. Okay, it's gonna be fine. Just gonna let that flow around the symbol on the shoulder here. Get the loincloth. Which is pretty much just for style points. Let's make sure I'm on camera. Scrap hanging off his trophy rack. Back of the knuckle. Okay. Alright. Rosy Shadow 09067. Oh, almost forgot the victim's holster there. So now the Rosy Shadow. And again, wanting to do some flesh tones on the armor itself to show that the powers of chaos are gradually fusing man and machine into one whole, horrifying as it is. One of the, I think it's Lords of Silence, but one of the Death Guard novels I have, one of the newer members of the group does an internal monologue where he comments that he can still remove his helmet, but many of his teammates cannot. Okay. Pine Green 09010. That is not mixed properly, so try again. Newer pots of paint require more mixing than usual because you have no idea how long they were on the store shelf or in a warehouse before you bought them. Just gonna trim here, and then I will be doing the iconography freehand later. And where did I put it? Blackened Steel 09205. metal spear and the lightning claw will have lighting effects on them, as will the eyes. But that needs to come after the shading is done. So, just bear that in mind. And I said before, while the new lighting rig definitely helps with the blurriness issues I've had in earlier videos, it does leave some pretty severe shadows sometimes. So that's just something we're going to have to work around. Let's try to keep this on camera as much as I can. Problem with something like this lightning claw is the camera doesn't know how to focus well. Something I could do manually a little better, I would, but it doesn't seem to be the case on this one. But again, my recording rig is behind me. There's physically no other way I can configure it in my current living situation. Not enough room to have the whole thing set up in front. I'll figure something out. I just realized I forgot to do the haft of the spear. So I'm going to get this pipe first. And get that deep red again. Just give a quick once over. And there we go. That gets a lot of it, so once that dries I can move on and I'll get in there. Well, you know what? Yeah, there's one more thing I can do. No, actually I can't, so we're just going to wait a bit and move on later. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. Okay. Well, I think the problem with focus on this video is there's too much to focus on. Adamantium Black 09124. Now this is a metallic black. And seems a nice complement to the other colors it is plugged up. I found the most effective way for doing black metal armor is to start with the matte black or a pure black, then use this to shade with varying highlights. So we're going to use this and thin it out with, again, 1 part water to 1 part paint. I can do 2 colors now, and then I should be able to wrap up with the lighting effects and the last shading on the next go and be done with it. I find dark colors, especially metallics, need a little extra shade. Well, okay, so let's try that again. Dark colors need more water to paint, generally 2 to 3 parts water to 1 part paint. So I'm thinning this out a little more than that. Being very good. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in these plates here on the backpack. Doing 1 section at a time, very carefully. Going around the neck guard. I don't know why I keep whispering through all this. I'll fill in these plates here as well. Just the centers. Keeping the edges the way I had them before. And I don't care if this bleeds into the surrounding because, again, fusion of flesh and metal here. Flesh both natural and demonic. Again, Warhammer is about the, well, Warhammer 40,000 to be as exact as possible, is about the only science fantasy franchise I've ever heard of that has actual card-carrying demons in it, so... And keep in mind the demons of this game are solidly evil, so just bear that in mind. These are the bad guys. In fact, Black Legion is just about the worst of the bad guys, aside to the demons themselves. Although, to be fair, it's one of those universes where there really aren't any good guys either, but... Start to ramble again. And that happened. Thumb on my left hand, which is my offhand I use for gripping the model, it got jammed about 2 weeks ago. It's better, but it's still really twitchy. I'm not even sure how I managed to jam it in the first place. This is just a tedious, meticulous process here. It's not going to go fast, so this is a hobby that requires a lot of patience in general. Not just with the hobby aspect, but also with the gaming aspect. So it should be kept in mind that a typical game of Warhammer 40,000 can take a couple hours to complete. So many little details right here. I'm just being really careful to only shade the ones I want. Just the boots. Or rather the bottom of the feet to be a little more precise, but almost done regardless. Okay. Just realized I forgot to do part of the middle here. I'm going to take that Rosy Shadow again, 09067. And do just a quick bit of these cord-like formations on the midriff. Again, they're similar. Muddy Olive 09034, similar features on regular Space Marines, but again, going with the whole corruption thing. Going around the Castellan of the Rift. And the first time I played around with variant Space Marine color schemes was my April Fool's video, which most people didn't realize was an April Fool's video, so I got a lot of really nasty comments on that about how stupid the concept is. Well, it was meant as an April Fool's joke. It was supposed to be stupid. And that's just a timer I've was setting for some casting resin. I've got curing. Nothing to be concerned about. Okay, so that's going to leave the gray body glove on both models and prepping the lighting effects, but almost done. Okay, test. Okay, it's working. So first I'm going to take some matte white and prep some lighting effects. Thrusters here. Eyes on. Okay. Now we're going to have to experiment a little bit, so doing part of the claws. This is just going to be a little funky, I think. That's all there is to it. But now for the sphere, I'm thinning the white out a little bit, making it into a wash, so the paint gets in the runes, or mostly in the runes. Alright. Matte black. I'm thinning this with 2 to 3 parts water to 1 part paint. Going over the exposed body glove and the vents and exhaust ports. Okay. Alright, once that's dry, I can do the eyes, lighting effects, and get this basing here just about finished. Alright, time for some lighting effects and to finish up shading. So, Rainy Gray 09038. Just a little bit of this for the Space Marine's eyes. Reflecting systems powered down. Vampire red. highlighting, you want to use 2 to 3 parts water per 1 part paint. The keys to leave some of the white showing through. Thruster's eyes and claws. And Stormy Gray 0908 to get the base. Since Space Marine is not just slain, he is pounded into the ground. Once that's all dried up, I can highlight detail and wrap up. Okay, time to highlight. Rosy highlight 09069. So for this I need a ragged feathered brush, paper towel, which I have on hand anyway for blotting out excess paint, rubbing most of the paint out till it looks like there's nothing left, then lightly dusting the areas to be affected. That shading got a little out of hand, looks like, on the black, but I'm just going to roll with it. In fact, I can use a little extra paint to cover it, but uniform gray. Going against any raised areas. Okay. Gunmetal blue 09126. This is a metallic dark blue. when applied properly to this combination of matte black, adamantium black, it gives that highlight, highlight that's pretty close to what's official in the Black Legion studio models. And just really worn out. It's been days since I've worked on this. Just doing a lot right now. Okay, my camera's making those noises again, my computer, but it's not conked out on me yet. And it's starting to... Alright. My computer's starting to act up again. So, I'm gonna wrap up with this one and see if I can figure out how to fix it. Okay. Trying to move on again. Pale Olive 09, what is it, 09036. Some of my labels are kind of beat up. I realized I missed a bit on the flesh tone here on the hoses coming off the mask. It's fixed. Zero 9050 antique gold, or no, not yet on this. First I need vampire red. But first I need, okay. Let's do some, okay. First I need true silver, 09207. Right. I'm not thinking too clearly right now. Now Vampire Red. Antique Gold 09050. Joys of technical difficulties. And I just realized I forgot to do an important part of the red. This is turning into a very awkward session for me. So it looks like Worldclaimer does have the Star of Chaos on his chest. It's just obscured by a lot of the other ornamentation. And my computer's acting up again, so I'm going to wrap this color up and try to fix it again. Alright. See if I can get my system playing nice again. Oh boy. Alright. Trying again. Alright. New gold 09051. Pale green 09012. Creamy Ivory 09144. Misty Gray 09090. Okay, and to let that dry completely, then I can do some details and wrap up. And my camera's conking out again already, oh boy. Okay, now for some details. Matte white. Doing this as a base coat. Doing the skull and chain insignia of the stones of the rift. There. Actually, that's not too bad for a start. The markings of a... Whoa, almost dropped a battle line. Well, sort of the markings. I am deliberately trying to make it look worn out right there. And I'm going to have to let that dry for a bit before moving on. Okay. So I did some extra coats on the skull there, and now some vampire red to finish up the iconography. Messed around with my lighting a little bit. We'll see if it hinders or helps. Chain pattern won't be exactly what it's like in the book, but I have heard you can paint with a needle, but I might try that at some point, but not today. Yeah, that's, I guess, not too bad for a first try. I get some focus on it. Nope. Great. Try just lighting a bit more. Oh, for crying out loud. Alright. Leaf green 09011. I'm not gonna screw around anymore. Had a very long couple of weeks. This is just going as a detail. Just a stripe on the helmet. And then matte black. Pure black was the name of the Reaper brand of this color. Trying to get a slant to the eyes to make them more angry. Not the best, not the worst, but now switching to a flathead brush. I'm going to line the base now, but there's one more detail to do before basing, and that'll come in the next step. This is just a tidy up. This can be any color. I've seen a lot of, especially older Games Workshop pictures where they use brown or green. Doesn't matter what you use. Alright. That dries, I can move on. Boy, I gotta play around with the lighting more. Okay, let's see if this plays nice for this last bit. True Silver 09207. Yeah, that is not the best skull I've ever done, but it'll do. So, first, I need to actually find the detail brush I'm using. Where is it? There it is. Doing this as a base coat. Just going over the damage in the armor. With the silver. Showing where paint is scratched off. Going around the edges of the battle damage there. Sporadically over the somewhat sporadically over the insignias here is just to show their incidental damage. Bit of vampire red. Probably a ton of frames here, boy. I try to keep gore effects to a minimum, but this is a case where it's appropriate. You're not going to have a pipe shoved through their chest without a little blood getting on it. Kind of pooling that around the chest in the center. And I think I'm satisfied with that. So now, prepping for some base work. white glue. And water. And I am using recycled paint water for this here, that's fine. Mixing that up into a, I think I want a bit thin on the water, but mixing it up into a solution. Get my basing material out. In this case, talus or rock debris. I'm just going to carefully paint my edges here. And the brush you want to use for this is going to be your worst brush. Something that's so mangled you're just about ready to get rid of it. It's something of a sacrifice, but it's the way to go there. And base material, shake out the excess. And not quite enough on the front here, so just a little more glue. Give that another dip. That's better. Taking a dry brush, just brushing the crumbs away from areas we don't want it. I really shouldn't be talking about referring myself as a we because that's creepy. And there's going to be one more step, but just about finished there. Okay, now that the basing material's had a chance to set, the final step is to seal it. Using a spray or brush on adhesive, I use Woodland Scenic Cement. I know there's got to be other products like that out there. Carefully just dripping on with a glass eyedropper. The material of the eyedropper is important because this stuff bonds to plastic very quickly and will plug up a plastic eyedropper after only 1 or 2 uses. So, clean out, just and that's that. Haarken Worldclaimer. The next video is going to be for one of my products, but after that it's going to go into particularly impressive Kill Team box set. So, until next time, I am Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, signing out.